Yeah, so discipline is a really good, beautiful thing unless you take it too far, right? So I grew up in a denomination where it felt like it was a lot about the outside, like checking the boxes, and that was, or at least that was my interpretation of what I heard. And so I had to sort of retrain myself in a lot of ways. So one of those things, for instance, when I was in college, I remember I was trying to do my devotions every day, and there was a day I was so stressed and I was so tired. And I went down to this little room where I would go and do my devotions, and I opened up my Bible that day, and the verse that my eyes fell on said, "Come with me to a quiet place and get some rest." And I knew in that moment, it was sort of a revelation to me, oh, this is more about the heart. He actually knows that I need rest right now, and he's okay with me not spending time with him because he wants me to rest. And I'll say there have been seasons in my life when it's been easier to do all those disciplines than other seasons. So for instance, if I have a baby and I'm up all night, you know, trying to get that baby to sleep, the Lord will find ways to speak with me, and I'll find ways to speak with him. But it might not look like I get to sit down for an hour when I have a baby, you know? It might look much different than that. I might hear him speak to me through a podcast while I'm washing the dishes or doing laundry. So I think different times in your life, it looks different too. If you look at sacrifice in the Old Testament and what that meant and what they brought to the sacrifice, when they brought that to the Lord, he expected perfection, right? Like that was Old Testament, and he wanted a perfect lamb without defect. So if someone brought him a defective lamb, it wasn't pleasing to him. It was sort of a half sacrifice, right? And I think, you know, Jesus has come and all of that has changed in some ways, but it shows us the nature of God. It shows us that he loves when it costs us something to give to him. It pleases him when it costs us something. You know, it's easy to give something that costs you nothing or something that won't almost hurt you in some way. But for me, when I started getting up really early in the morning to spend time with the Lord, that was a great cost for me, especially considering I dealt with long-term health stuff and really needed that sleep, and just knew that I might need a nap that day if I get up, you know? I might literally have to get back in bed at some point. But making the ultimate decision, this is what I'm going to do, and it's going to cost me something. And I heard the Lord say to me not too long ago, he never requires more sacrifice than he gives blessing. So whatever it is that you're sacrificing, just know that you're never going to outgive God. He's always going to give you a greater blessing for what you're doing with him and for him.